going to tie up an FG knot. Hands down, in my opinion, the best braid to fluorocarbon knot. It is a bit complex, takes a bit of time to tie, but for flipping scenarios, a lot of spinning rod stuff, it's the only thing I'm gonna mess with. But this is it. I take my rod, wrap my line around it, and then put it there somewhere I can pull on it tight. See that reel handle's hitting the deck. You want to be able to keep a set amount of tension in this main line. I hold it with my teeth. Guys tie it a couple different ways, but this is what works for me. Usually try to leave my old FG on there so you got something to grab a hold of with your teeth. Clamp that in there, then you start with the fluorocarbon over the top of the braid, and then it's just 20 back and forth wraps after that. Down around that side, back around this side 20 times. Okay, so we got 20 wraps in there, then I'll take and pinch that knot with my fingers. You can do more or less wraps. Sometimes if you use really slick, thin braid, you got to do more wraps, like 30, but everything I use, 20 wraps works just fine with it. And I'm going to take my tag on my braid, do a half hitch over the main line braid and the tag of the fluoro. Pull that down. The knot's pretty well done at that point. I do a few extra steps just to make it like 100% fail proof, but essentially you got an FG knot right there. You can clip it off and fish with it if you pull on it tight. But what I do, I take my fluoro tag and I'll put an overhand knot in there, and this is just a absolute fail safe. You'll never have a FG come loose if you do this. And I probably don't need to do it anymore. It was more important when I started tying FGs because most of them weren't perfect. But now I've got the hang of it pretty good. So I'll put a overhand, basically a stopper in that fluoro. Now I'm going to take both ends and pull on it really hard, cinch that down. If you get that knot close enough when you tie it, it should just pull right into it like that one did. It's pretty well butted up against that first half hitch we got in there. And then we do 3 half hitches over the main braid and the tag fluoro again, just to kind of keep that knot from wanting to pop out the side. Three half hitches. Take my fingernails and slide that down tight on that knot. And I'm coming here, I'm going to cut this as clean as possible, as tight to that knot as I can without getting my braid. And then I finish it with 2 half hitches over the top of that. Now this is all pretty well extra stuff after that first half hitch, but it makes it fail safe and holds the knot together a lot better. And then this part I'll trim this braid fairly short and then keep all those half hitches from coming loose. I'll take a lighter and pinch my main line and the end of my knot real tight so that my flame can't burn it, and just use a low part of the lighter and ease that in there and cinch all that tag end down. Now none of those half hitches will come loose. It's pretty well glued on there. You just got to be careful you don't get your main line. I always make sure pull on it really good. Make sure I didn't nip my main line with the lighter. But if you use the low part of the lighter, the blue part of the lighter, it doesn't burn real hot, and you get a little more control with it than if you try to use the top of the flame. But that's it. That's an FG knot, 20 wraps, overhand knot in the fluoro, and then essentially 5 half hitches above that, and locked down, not going to go anywhere. Strong as can be. I don't really ever recall breaking the FG. You'll break your leader somewhere if you got a nick in it or down at your bait, but I don't really ever see these fail. But that's how I tie an FG knot. It's more than you got to do, but in my head that's just fail safe. I'm not going to ever have an issue with that knot. Alright, if you cannot tie an FG knot, which I don't blame you, it took me a long time to learn, this is the next best option. This is a modified Albright. Basically start with your mono, fluorocarbon, whatever you want to use, double it over, pinch it to make a loop, take your braid, push it through the loop, pull out 6-7 inches. Got to keep everything kind of tight here, but you're basically going to make 6 wraps down the braid. Pinch there, and then you're just going to do 6 wraps back up the braid. And I try to lay them in between the wraps I've already made, just makes for a little tighter knot. But I don't know if it really much matters. And this is the most important part. I don't know if you can see that. See how my braid came from the top and it's going out the bottom? You need to go the same way. So my main line braid is over the top of this loop, going back out the bottom. I need to make sure my braid comes back through that way. And then I wet it and kind of wiggle everything into place with my tongue. This is the other thing that gets people. Hold both of your lines on your mono or fluoro and then only pull on your main braid. Leave that braid tag loose and it'll tighten up a lot better for you and get you a lot more consistent knot. And then this knot, I don't do much else but trim it off. You do want to try to get your the braid don't much matter because it's soft. The fluoro or mono, you want to try to get this as close as you can. This is the reason. Usually I won't reel this line, this knot into my reel. I'll leave it in the rod. But right here, you got to get that, and it really doesn't much matter, but I try to get that as tight as I can. But either way, there's still always going to be a little point there, and that'll catch on your line or catch on your braid. So this reel, I don't recommend running it through the guides. I'll tie this in a pinch for spinning rod stuff if it's windy and wavy and an FG is getting difficult to tie. It's a really quick knot. I can tie it really quick, but I do also tie it on my top waters. I'll run a real short mono leader. This one's a little longer than I normally tie, but you know, somewhere in that, it just basically needs to be longer than whatever top water you're throwing. So 6-8 inch leader monofilament, I'll tie it on there just because I'm not setting the hook crazy hard. I'm not pulling on the fish hard. I got a treble hook bait. So I'll tie it for this, and just a quick, easy knot. It's really fairly strong. Not quite as strong as an FG knot, but super easy to tie, really easy to learn, and pretty strong. Just don't reel it into your reel. Keep it shorter with that, where with an FG you can get by with a lot longer leader, but really easy, high quality knot. Tie it really quick, no matter if it's windy, rainy, wavy, whatever it may be. Super easy to do.